I'm Rhett,
And I'm Brandon.
and we're the House Dads, because we're dads who sell houses,
But we're also husbands, business owners, sports freaks, Christians.
friends, marketing nerds, TV show bingers, and so many more things.
Like so many of you, we're just trying to do it all, and we're trying to do it well.
And that's what we're here to talk about.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 34 of the House Dads podcast. So glad you guys are here. Look, before we dive in, I want to just give you guys a little direction and a little help, if you guys don't mind. If you guys will go over, if you're not listening to it already, to our YouTube channel.
YouTube.
Okay? It would mean the world to us if you would like this video, okay? You can obviously share it, but the biggest thing would be subscribe. Trying to get those subscription numbers up, it would mean the world to us. But no matter which way you're listening, we're so glad that you guys are here.
Yes.
We got a fun one to talk about today.
Yeah.
You know, usually what we try and do here is, the last ones we've been talking about changing your thinking, changing the way that you talk, changing the way that you speak, and what you should do. Today, we're going to be specifically talking about what you should not say. Right? It's important what we shouldn't say, just like what we should say.
You need to know what to say, what not to say. And
Exactly.
honestly, this episode is for a wide array of people.
Yes.
If you are in these stages, you're going to be able to relate.
Right.
If you are not in these stages, you're going to learn something. You're going to be a little more aware, and we're here to help you to not say the things that we're going to talk about.
This is like the Sunday that you're at church when you're a kid and the pastor goes up there and starts talking about parenting or marriage.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And you're like, wait, I'm just a little kid. I don't need to be here. But you're one day going to need to know these things.
Yeah.
So if you're not a parent, if you're not getting engaged, if you're not married, if you're not in that season of life, you still need to know these things so you don't say the wrong thing. Okay.
Yes.
So we're glad you're here.
Yeah. So this can be a little lighthearted, but it can also, some of these points are going to go a little deeper.
Yes,
All right.
for
But
sure.
it can be a fun episode, a little more conversational. But it's going to be fun.
Yeah, and I think what you can do too is this one plays off of and works with Lost in Translation, an episode that we did probably a month or so ago now. But go back and listen to that one after this about some of the common sayings that we say that make no sense at all, but it's just to fill in gaps in conversation. And then after you think back and you're like, why did I say that? That doesn't make any sense. Right?
Yeah.
I ended up preaching at the end of that one. You remember? So anyway,
Yeah.
you can go back
going.
if you need a message to read as well. To listen to as well. Go back and listen to Lost in Translation. But today we're going to be kind of talking a little bit more. It's got a similar theme, but we're going to be talking about more of that newlywed parenting world and all that stuff.
Absolutely. So, to start us off, I figured I would get on the same level playing field as you guys and share a very embarrassing and cringe story.
Good.
Because, I'm learning as well. All right. So I've said this to numerous people, and every time at the end, they're always like, ooh.
Yikes.
So, as we have said, we are expecting our third child soon.
Real soon.
Real soon. Maybe by the time this airs,
It's real close.
Be here. But on one of our first ultrasound appointments, all right, we get the ultrasound.
I'm ready. I don't think I've heard this.
We get the ultrasound, or we get it done. We go, you got to go upstairs and wait for the doctor to kind of give you their spiel. We're in the waiting room, all right? We're holding a sheet of paper. I look around. There's other females there. They're all holding the same sheet of paper.
Oh, boy. I already see where it's going.
Somebody walks in that I know, and I know her. She sits next to me. We're kind of small talking about like a class she teaches. And I am an idiot. I'm a guy. I'm thinking, this is the pregnancy floor. Everybody here is pregnant.
No,
It's
man.
so cringe already.
That doctor looks at all kinds of stuff, I heard.
They do, and I wasn't aware of that. I should have been. This is our second time going through this, but either way, at the end of our conversation, I said, "And well, congrats." And then immediately I get a just jab to my side, and Brandy's like, "Not everybody here is pregnant."
Bruh.
And I think I played it off well.
How did she respond?
I don't know. I was like, I got jabbed in the side,
you
so I
just
couldn't
didn't
pay
even look.
attention.
Yeah.
But I think I played it off well because she may have thought I was talking about her class that she's
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah,
So
good,
I don't
good.
know, but it was so bad. And it's
pretty
just
rough.
like, don't say anything in those settings. As a guy, you just shut up.
Yeah, don't say anything.
So I should not have said that.
Yeah, and I think that's where most of these things that we're going to be talking about today come from.
Yes.
Is we're just like we talked about Lost in Translation a couple episodes ago. A lot of times we just don't know what to say, so we say stupid things.
Yes.
I think it's an old proverb. It's like it's better to not say anything than to say something or it's better to not say anything and be thought a fool than to say something and then remove all doubt that you definitely are,
Exactly.
right? Like, we have to be careful to not say things just to say things, because we have this tendency,
Yeah.
we have this tendency to kind of assume that everybody is on the same trajectory in life.
Right.
We have this tendency that everybody wants the same things out of life. But like, that just may not be their desire. And
Yeah.
so like, you could walk yourself into some weird and uncomfortable situations, and you can kind of hurt people too.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into the meat of it. Enough about how I'm the worst. We're gonna get into it. Some things that you should not say, and we're gonna kind of go in the stage of life that kind of usually people go through, which is we're gonna start off with being a newlywed, right? This is something that you should not say to newlyweds,
Yes.
or more so just kind of a pet peeve. But just wait until the honeymoon stage is over, right?
Yeah.
Come on, man. That is setting the precedent that marriage is just downhill after the
Exactly.
honeymoon stage,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We want to. Obviously, the honeymoon stage is great. You're in
Sure.
love. Like, you just haven't been hit with a lot of problems or
Right.
anything yet. It's just like you're on cloud nine. But again, like, that's such a discouraging thing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like setting the tone of, hey, after the honeymoon stage, it ain't worth it.
Exactly. I get where it's coming from, right?
Yeah.
Because like you said, during the honeymoon, it's like you're on vacation. You're not, you don't have the responsibilities, you don't have the issues and stuff like that of life back home. But like you said, it implies or assumes already that it's going to all go downhill after there. No, I will never forget. Courtney and I, we had the best honeymoon ever, I feel like. We got home, and the first night I look over at her, and she's kind of tearing up. And I'm like, oh, snap. What did I do?
What I do?
Right?
What's wrong?
And she was just like, in a real emotional, vulnerable moment, she was like, I just realized I'm not going to sleep at my mom's house ever again. And it just kind of hit, and it sunk
Yeah.
in. So, yeah, obviously there's some realities
Yeah.
that happen after that, but you can attest to this, I can attest to this, that it just keeps on getting
Yeah,
better. If you're doing it
absolutely.
the right way, man, I feel like we're more in the honeymoon phase now than we were that
Absolutely.
week after we got
It just
married.
gets like so much more depth to your relationship.
Yes.
So much like your love for each other goes so much deeper.
Exactly.
And your words are powerful. They should be uplifting and encouraging.
Yeah.
They hold a lot of weight, which we've talked about numerous times. So saying those things and setting the tone of like, hey, marriage, it just kind of goes downhill.
Right.
You plateau.
Yeah.
It's just not true.
No.
So be honoring with your words. Don't set the tone to people that, hey, once the honeymoon stage is over,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not worth having.
Yeah, and that one's a little lighthearted, but this one can get really serious and can really hurt some people. And I've had some friends that have lately been dealing with this, and so it's really difficult. But it's the question, and I said it a lot out of ignorance.
Yeah, it's
before,
really ignorance,
especially starting in real estate. I said it a lot out of ignorance, and it can seem like an innocent question, but when are you guys going to have kids?
When are the kids coming?
Yeah, when are the
When you
kids
gonna do
coming?
that?
When you gonna add a baby? Like, it just, I had to learn this the hard way, because I even remember showing houses to friends of mine or clients of mine earlier on in my career that were just married or something like that, or a couple years into marriage, and I'd be like, and this is perfect for the baby's room.
Yeah.
And I don't, and going back on that, I don't know if I ever really hurt anybody through that. I don't have any bad stories through that, but I don't know if they had infertility issues. I don't know if they wanted to have kids,
Right.
you know? So you just never know what people are going through, or they may have just had a really hard time and lost a child,
Yeah.
you know? And so if you're going to be like, man, it's just not, it's not worth, right? The even possibility, like what good may come out of that, right? Does not outweigh the potential harm that can do. So just stay away from saying that. It's just something we don't need to say.
And to be clear, I don't think you should never ask that question.
Yeah.
But I think you need to kind of earn the right. Not earn the right, but you should be a little closer to this
You know
person.
somebody.
Yeah.
to say that.
Know them a little deeper. If you know there's no issue, I don't know. It's just.
Yeah, like when Courtney and I do marriage counseling for couples,
Yeah.
we ask them, like,
Right.
are y'all on the same page about kids?
Right.
How many kids do you want to have? Do you want to have kids? And so you can have that conversation with your friends and stuff. But if you really don't know somebody like that,
It's not a playful question. I don't think it's something to just throw around and say, hey, when are you going to have kids? Like, this just stop.
Yeah.
Earn that right.
For sure.
So that's the newlywed stage. Had a couple there.
Yeah.
Moving on to the stage of expecting a child.
Yes.
Your wife is carrying your baby. We're in the stage now.
We should have just like let the ladies come in and film this.
Funny.
Because they probably like could have a whole lot more conviction behind what we're saying here. We're relaying this information as innocent bystanders.
Exactly. I was actually writing this episode like next to Brandy at one point, and I said, "Hey, I asked her opinion on the questions."
Good. So this
she
is
started
co-written.
saying, "Boom, boom, boom. Don't say this. Don't say this." I was like, "Oh, calm down."
This
I
is
get it.
co-written for
I got
sure.
to choose a few.
Yeah.
But I want to give a disclaimer. So if there's a couple expecting, boys, learn from my mistakes. Just don't say anything at all.
Bro.
Don't even acknowledge the pregnancy's
Don't say
existence.
anything, dude.
Don't comment. Don't
Keep your eyes up
say-
here too, like just neck up. You don't even look at the baby, the belly, nothing.
I know it comes out of like, hey, maybe you care. Obviously, you care,
Sure.
but like you want to have conversation. But there's just so much that can go south. There's
Yeah.
just so much involved. So men probably don't say anything.
Yeah.
But going into the more specifics, this kind of goes along the same tone as the first with a newlywed. Better get your rest and enjoy your marriage now.
Yikes.
You know?
Yeah.
Come
It's like-
on, man.
As soon as you have those kids, all
Yeah.
downhill again.
You're setting the tone. It's going downhill.
Right.
Is it a game changer when you have kids?
100%.
Absolutely. Is it a downhill for your life and for your marriage?
No.
Absolutely not. If you want it to be, it can.
Sure. If you're looking
But-
for that,
yeah.
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
again, using those words, it's setting the tone that it's all gone now. There's no, it's not like a fun thing. So yes, things change.
Yeah.
You're going to lose some sleep.
Yeah.
You're going to have to
Yeah.
be a little more wise with your time.
Right.
But yeah, don't just go setting that tone.
And it's difficult. Like we ask, like I had a friend call me the other day, and I say he's a friend. I hadn't talked to him in years.
Mm-hmm.
But he called me about real estate and looking for a house. And he's like, hey, we're expecting our third child, and our other two are still under 2 years old. And it's like, I'm trying to do that math. I'm like, how's that possible? You know what I mean? But anyway.
Yeah.
And so at that moment, I'm like, I don't know if I say congratulations or whatnot, because I
Yeah.
think all life is important and that's special and beautiful. But at that moment, you could almost hear in his voice he was so overwhelmed. And so it's like, okay, let's take a step back and not just be like, bro, that's awesome, congrats. I'm like, hey man,
Hey, what
do you good? Like, are you feeling okay about like you? And so just be careful with your words.
Right.
And the next thing is this, and that's just why I kind of said like, hey, just keep your eyes up, fellas. But Lucas, my younger child, he was a big kid. He's a big kid, and he was a big baby, and so that means Courtney was carrying a lot.
Yeah.
And so don't ever comment on a pregnant woman's body at all, right?
Ever.
Don't acknowledge any size, looks, like you look exhausted, you look tired, or wow, you're huge. Like that goes.
Golly.
That must be a big baby. Like, come on, man.
It's going to be a fullback.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
dude. Like, he's going to be like his daddy. Dude, just stay away from it, right? Like, obviously, the gift of carrying a baby is a beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful thing. But, a lot of ladies don't feel like that's the most glamorous time in their life, or how they look or how they feel. And sometimes they can be insecure. So, saying anything other than, wow, you're glowing.
Yeah.
You look beautiful.
I wouldn't even say that. I'm not going to comment.
I'm not going to say
acknowledge.
any other woman is glowing. Okay,
Yeah, I
I'm
know
just
what
not
you
going to do that. I'm going to stay away from that. But like, that's the standard.
Yeah.
Don't say anything other than that, or don't say anything at all.
Yep.
Just don't
say it. Come
Don't
on
say
now.
it. Yeah.
This next one, Brandy kind of gave me this
Okay,
idea.
good. This
I
is
would've-
co-signed by Brandy.
I would have never thought of it.
Yeah.
But it's commenting on the gender wants and implying a certain family structure that you should have.
Yeah, yeah.
So to give some context, we have two girls. We don't know what this third's going to be. We're waiting to find out.
Right.
But there's like people will say stuff like, "Well, I hope it's a boy. You can have your complete family." It's like
We're going to be complete no matter what.
that doesn't make it like a wholehearted
Yeah.
circle.
Right.
But there's the like, and even like gender reveals.
Yeah.
I bet you want a boy because you have girls. I bet you want a girl because you have like. Honestly, I mean, I'm just happy with a healthy
Yes,
baby.
right.
You don't have to put those projections on what you want me to have.
Yeah.
And a family is not more or less whole because you have both genders.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's maybe kind of an older generation thinking sometimes. Oh, I say that. I feel like there's some young people who still think like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, yeah. And so where we're going to move from out of kind of this pregnancy and expecting stage is to kind of the stage of life that we're in now. And so maybe this is a little bit for the younger generation or anything like that. And I have really been working on my empathy in this category because I spent a lot of time with high school students.
Yeah.
And a lot of times high school students would come to me and they'll just be like, I am just so exhausted and tired. You have got to be careful, okay? If you're younger, you know, or maybe, you know, you don't have kids yet, or you're not married or something like that. And I'm not saying that you can't be tired.
Yeah, you can be tired.
But you got to just be careful telling that to somebody who has multiple children or a child and saying, I am so tired. You just don't understand. It's like, no, trust me, I do, right? You are certainly allowed to be tired. And I don't ever roast my students over the coals for this and everything like that. But a lot of times the reason that you may be tired is because you stayed up till 2 a.m. willingly and made your own choice to stay up that late, right?
You probably got that a lot at camp.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're just exhausted. Everybody's exhausted, but they get to go home and take a nap.
Exactly.
You get to go home.
Oh, I get to go home and go to work and be a dad and all those different things. So it's like, look, you know, a lot of times that you being tired or not is in your control. And so when you say that, it kind of shows that you don't have empathy for somebody else who doesn't have that control because they're waking up with kids in the middle of the night or going to work or all those different things. Again, it's a little bit more lighthearted. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to smoke somebody over that.
It's not a big deal, but it just kind of stabs you a little bit like, all right, I'm really tired. Like,
but then at the same time, I have to be careful that I don't turn around and say, well, just you wait till you have kids, because I don't want to sound like I'm complaining because I'm so thankful.
Exactly.
But it's just all this is being more careful with what we say.
Exactly. This next one, another little lighthearted one. Look.
Shoot, you may consider it lighthearted.
Is this going to hit hard?
I might go off, bro.
Oh, okay. We'll see.
I'm not going to go off. I'm not hard like that, but it makes me mad.
If you're on YouTube, you're seeing he's hard like that. Dude. Yeah. So, look, I don't have any pets.
Me either.
I love that you have pets, and I love that you love your pets. But please do not compare your fur baby or your pet to someone that has an actual baby. All right?
Bruh.
When I'm venting a little bit about, I was up last night or whatever, don't come at me and say, yeah, my dog woke me up and I had to go let it out. I'm like, that's not the same thing. It's not the same thing, all right? Again, I love that you have pets. They mean a lot to a lot of people, but they're not the same as kids.
No.
Right?
No.
They're not the same experience.
No, I have some friends who love their pets, you know, and like they are like family. And I've got friends who don't have kids yet. And so it's hard to understand, right? But it's just different. The dog does not have the same emotional, physical needs as my boys, right? They're just different.
Yeah.
And so we're just not going to compare the two, right? I love you and I love your pets, but it just ain't the same.
Stop it.
I'm trying to be nice.
I saw someone, I think what really hit me hard the other day, what was it? I think it was Mother's Day, which is a big day. Yeah. Like, moms, you're the goats. That was weird. But someone
you are goats, Billy Goats.
Someone posted their dog, and like they don't have kids, but they're like, I'm a mom. I'm like, that's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. All right, your dog is. I don't know.
No,
this is probably pushing some buttons. Again, we love that you love your dogs and your cats, but they're not the same as kids. So please don't try to relate and share that experience.
Yes.
So.
And the next one, again, is lighthearted too. The next one is a lot of people will say some kind of variation of this. They'll be like, man, just enjoy this stage while you can. You're going to want it back. When somebody, and usually you say that in response to when somebody's venting about how frustrated or how tired or how exhausted they are.
Right.
And they're like, you know, like, oh man, my kids won't sleep. Or, oh, well, just enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is hard.
Yeah. Please acknowledge at
this
least
is
that I'm
tough, right? I get it. It's a worthwhile saying. One day our boys and our families are going to grow up and change, and we're going to want it back. I get it. But in this moment, this is one of those things where I don't need you to fix it.
Yep.
I just need you to listen.
Yep.
Courtney's told me that a time or two. So you heard I just kind of rolled that off the chest. But they're all going to grow up. Everything's going to change. We know we're going to want that season back. But just kind of before you say something like that, preface it with a little sympathy of like, man, I'll never forget those days either. There were plenty of times where I was wishing that thing would just end, but now I kind of wish I had it back.
Yeah.
Maybe put yourself in those shoes and say, I wish I had it back, instead of saying, oh, man, you better suck it up. You need to enjoy it while you can. I'll show a little empathy.
I'll be honest. I'm going to probably say it when I'm older too.
Yeah, for sure.
But again, you have to either preface it or at the end acknowledge that what they're going through is a very tough stage.
Yes.
And the next stage is going to be tough too. They're all tough.
Right.
But like, just let us have, don't fix it. Let
Right.
us have our time.
Right.
So those are some examples of different stages. We could have made plenty more.
Yeah.
Just to give you a few. And when talking with Brandy, she said you could do, which I said, you could do a whole episode on kind of the ignorant things people say about adoptive or
Yes.
adopting or fostering.
Yes.
There's just some very, very like things you should not say.
Hurtful, bad stuff.
Yeah, Brandy
Yeah.
gets real fired up about those
Yeah.
and snaps back.
Yeah.
But either way, I hope this helps.
Yeah.
Know some things not to say.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I know these phrases aren't like meant to harm or
Right.
they're said, like you said in the beginning. Sometimes we just say things in small talk to fill voids.
Yep.
But it's still important to acknowledge what you're saying.
Yes.
Our words carry some weight,
Yes.
and you should probably be a little more aware of those things.
That's right.
You
Something
know?
we've said before too is like if you're not sure how something's going to land, how it's going to deliver, and it's not worth the benefit or the gain, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it.
Absolutely.
Right? If you have something good to say it. But it's just really important because our words do matter, and our words have so much potential to build up and encourage that we're not going to waste them on these little shorthanded,
Right.
negative, frustrating things, or these little things that we just don't know what other people are going through.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to things like that, like fostering and parenting, and it comes to family planning and things like that. Stuff like that is so deep, so
Right.
personal. A lot of times that personal stuff we got to be really careful with.
Yeah. Our words need to go through a lens of empathy,
Yeah.
as well as a lens and filter of encouragement.
Yeah.
Right. They're meant to build up. And I know we're sometimes just playful, but those things that you don't even know sometimes what you've said that
You
could
can cut deep.
cut deep.
Yeah. Well, we like to make, what we try and do is try and be well-rounded in every area of our life. It wasn't a heavy, deep business one, or it wasn't a heavy, deep parenting one. This is one of just being better, just improving, just growing, and the words that we say matter. So we hope that this helped you. We recommend going back and tagging it with the Lost in Translation episode if you haven't listened to it already. These two really go hand in hand, and I think if you listen to both of them, you'll probably start to improve some of your communication and not just say things to say things.
Absolutely.
So anything else?
No, man, I'm good.
Guys, thank you so much for being here. We'll catch you next time on House Dads.
See ya.